just come up so that I live here in one piece and go back home where I have my sunny Africa waiting for me. My small research on Warwick Africa Summit informed me that from 2018 to now, a trail of brilliant and distinguished Africans from across diverse sectors, political, diplomacy, business, philanthropy, and achievement have honored and graced the Warwick Africa Summit. This made me assess myself properly before accepting the invitation. Be as it may, when I consider this year's theme, Omuntu, Umuntu, Gabantu, a Zulu maxim that eloquently translates to I am because you are. At this core, this theme celebrates the essence of partnership and collaboration, a philanthropic philosophy that threads together the tapestry of Africa and her people. I am because you are. It's more than a phrase. It is a call for equity, peace, and harmony, acknowledging the sanctity of every life regardless of ethnicity, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. Dissecting the theme to my understanding and relating it to the work I have been engaged in and continue to do, I say thank you to Warwick Africa Summit for providing me a platform in an academic setting to share my story, which I hope will inspire you, will contribute to knowledge, and will contribute to your learning. Coincidentally, the desire of African Annual Summit, which is about equity, peace, and harmony, resonates very well with my desire calling on equity, peace, and harmony, acknowledging the sanctity. My journey has been one of struggle, resistance, but have been resolute in my desire for freedom, equality, and empowerment. As a victim of child marriage at a tender age, I was determined to pursue my dream career as someone who was always passionate about performing art. I found myself in the entertainment industry here in the United Kingdom as an artist, a screenwriter, and a producer in the acclaimed movies including Expedition Africa, Boy, Battered, and Shameful Deceit. I portrayed the message and the power of creating the feelings that align with real life situations, including the most difficult and dare to speak about in an African setting. In Expedition Africa, when a white guy dates a black girl, the perception in Africa and some other community is that the woman is a gold digger. And that there is no genuine love. If it is a black man who is actually dating a white woman in our society will hail and admire him for being brave and being a man. For Boy, it is about a gap in our information, about our lineage, which we often don't disclose to our children. When we come to the Western world, we tend to actually forget where we come from. Whether we are from ruling houses, spiritual heads, or the hierarchies, and their implications and consequences by not telling your children who they really are and where they actually come from. In a battered movie, the movie depicts a situation of an African woman that has endured domestic violence in silence, which went to the unrepairable point before she spoke up. And as for shameful deceit, relates to the biblical saying, spare the rod and spoil the child. Parents were blinded by their love for their child and therefore failed to see any wrong in the behavior of a child, even when close relatives and the community raised alarm of the delinquencies, including substance and other abuses. The father maintained a state of denial. The outcome of such negligence was tragic. I urge you all of you to find time to enjoy some of these movies. to my story as the First Lady, because I don't want to bore you about my story before being First Lady. At least I've given you a synopsis of, a girl that was married at a very early age as a child, had the opportunity to leave Africa, come to the United Kingdom, live here as a refugee in the United Kingdom, had the opportunity to go back to school, had the opportunity to empower myself with knowledge, and then had the opportunity to have a platform to serve. And not only serve myself, but serve my people. And that brings me to my position as the First Lady of Leone. In supporting the political campaign of my husband, I saw an opportunity, and I am pleased he gave me the platform to lend my voice to the effort of our predecessors in fighting inequality, discrimination, and abuse of women and girls. As my husband became president in 2018, I assumed the role of the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, utilized that space to support the flagship program of the New Direction government, which was the Human Capital Development with premium on free quality education. The only way the free quality education should succeed is by ensuring child marriage and teenage pregnancy was fought, child trafficking was curbed, sexual and gender-based violence was confronted head-on, menstrual hygiene, which was a factor in girl-child education, is supported, HIV and AIDS, and cervical cancer and fistula were pursued, became mind-boggling for me. Sexual and gender-based violence was prevalent and very disgusting. Girls as young as 6 months old were raped. Girls were leaving school due to pervasive child marriage. Children were trafficked. Menstruation was keeping girls out of school. HIV and AIDS were on the rise. Cancer was spreading like wildfire. In the midst of this unpleasant situation, victims of rape and SGBV did not access justice, but even more depressing was the complacency and the participation of our communities. Our religious leaders and traditional leaders, as well as the affluent, the politicians, the rich and the powerful in society were all involved. These and many other issues confronting women and girls in Sierra Leone motivated me to embark on one of the most ambitious campaigns, the Hands Up Our Girls campaign. You will now appreciate why I refer to the Hands Up Our Girls as the most ambitious venture. Reaching this point, and with everything that you have watched, I think it is actually time for me to say thank you very much. I'm done. You have seen what I've been doing. And the reason why I had to put you through this journey so that you sit here and see. Because most of us, I was a student like you before in the United Kingdom here, and we have less patience in knowing about who stands in front of us. So today I said, I'm going to force it. Because today it's not my day, it is your day. So I'm going to force you to actually know who is going to be standing in front of you. And then I'm going to force you to connect to what I am doing. And by the time I leave this room, I'm going to try and inspire you. So whenever you want to do something, you'll be thinking about this woman. There was a woman who came to my university and she forced me to watch a movie. Because after watching the whole thing, I said, this is like a movie. But I hope that movie had actually taught you something, especially when you come from an African setting. It tells you that it can be done. Let no one fool us. It can be done. And it is for us to take it and make it ours and make sure we do what is right for our continent. So our immediate interventions, see, I've been just talking and talking and talking. So I'm trying to not bore you with too many information, because I believe if you've watched a movie and you can actually write a thesis from the movie. You know, but these and many other issues confronting women and girls in Sierra Leone motivated me to embark on one of the most ambitious campaign Hands Up for Girls. You now appreciate why I refer to it as ambitious. Our immediate intervention were declaring a state of emergency on rape and launched an aggressive national campaign in December 2018 with first ladies from other parts of Africa, Niger, Gambia, Liberia, Ghana, and Chad, who came to Sierra Leone, not just to showcase themselves as first lady, but to say to Africa that we've had enough. Because whatever affects Sierra Leone is affecting the whole of Africa. I was unapologetic to the name calling of perpetrators. If you're a perpetrator and your name is given to me, I'll make sure I announce your name in front of 10,000 people, and I'll tell them where you live. Which we took to the length and breadth of the entire country. There was nothing for me that says a first lady should not go to the last remote village and see your people. When you had the opportunity to serve, you're only there to serve your people. You're not there to serve the State House or the White House. You're there to serve your people. However, during the campaign, we recognized and also publicly decorated the community and traditional leaders as champions. Knowing full well that for the campaign to be successful, I have to have allies. I have to have too many people to come. Because what we're fighting, when you fight evil, evil come back to fight. So I had to have allies. And my allies were the religious leaders, the traditional leaders who are the custodians of our traditional laws. I had to have them as allies. They supported us. In addition, we reviewed the Sexual Offences Act of 2012 in 2019. We established a specialized structural one-stop center and the Novel Sexual Offences Model Court, a specialized division of the High Court of Sierra Leone for easier access to justice and review penalties for perpetrators. We also went on further to review the governance structure. We now have a standalone ministry for gender and children's affairs so that we can be more responsive to women and girls' issues. Furthermore, specific policies and laws that impeded the freedom and rights and advancement of women and girls were targeted. The campaign fully complemented government effort with the Free Sanitary Pad initiative. Our goals was and remain ensuring that girls do not miss out of school during menstruation. Alongside the advocacy, we made an important headway of breaking the taboo and demystifying menstruation and menstrual hygiene in our conversation in the homes, in our schools, in our communities, and in all public spaces. Boys were and are now part of the campaign and have tremendously helped. The deliberate investment in the human capital development with free quality education for all as a flagship program by His Excellency the President, President's government in the medium-term National Development Plan of 2019-2023 is the backbone of our progress. Resounding outcome from our efforts of the campaign are broadly recognized in the following. WHO has confirmed the reduction of infant and maternal mortality by over 60% simply because of child marriage and teenage pregnancy has been significantly reduced. A novel sexual offences model court established, which is specialized division of the High Court of Sierra Leone, now an envy in the sub-region of Africa, to increase access to justice for victims and stiffer penalties for perpetrators. The Sexual Offences Act of 2012 was reviewed in 2019 to reduce the lacuna so that laws are strengthened. A standalone ministry for gender and children's affairs dedicated to respond and advance women and girls' issues. The free quality education is for all boys and girls in Sierra Leone with school materials and feeding provided as well. Free sanitary pad for all school-going girls is now assured. Girls opting to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are now free from tuition from primary school to university level. In 2020, 2022, a landmark law, the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Gili Act, was passed. We have now enshrined in our laws that women should have the same opportunity as men in every aspect of life, and we continue to progressively empower them to enjoy these rights. In the current Parliament and Cabinet, Sierra Leone can boast of at least 30% of women membership in government. This law assures women at least 30% of elected and appointed positions in governance. Internationally, we can boast of the adoption of 2 UN resolutions. The first one was access to justice for rape victims globally. Because that has been one of the biggest problems. When a child is raped and they now have to go to court, they have to pay the bills in court. That means they've been victimized twice. And I didn't want this to be a Sierra Leone success, so I took it to the United Nations, and it was passed that every child who finds themselves in a court setting for issues that had to do with rape, that child should have a representation there, and it should not be the second resolution that I believe you watched during the presentation was asking the United Nations to dedicate one day to rape victims globally, so that that day is when they come together and understand that they are not alone. Was dedicated for the prevention of and healing from victims of child sexual exploitation. Is now part of the United Nations World Day. We consider this as remarkable advancement recorded over the years. In addition, evidence shows, anecdotal evidence shows an increase in the confidence of women and girls. There is now fear in the perpetrators. When we see a child and we look at them, those children turn back and say to them, I am Fatima's children. And a sentencing is now harsh. Before now, if you rape a child in Sierra Leone and then you're from an affluent family, the maximum penalty you have is 4 months imprisonment. That if they even put you in prison. But today, it doesn't matter who you are. Even if you are the president's son, you will go to prison for 15 years. In an event that you try to rape a woman or a child and that person died, you're going to prison for life. The legal framework for women's participation in politics and other leadership positions, among others, are all positive developments we are proud of. I must hasten to say it was not done alone, and I would like to therefore underscore the essence of partnership and collaboration. In the heart of the campaign, we deliberately ensure working together with all stakeholders that were and are still concerned with protection of women and girls' empowerment as well as gender equality. In celebrating our 5 years anniversary of the Hands of Our Girls in December last year, our team was clear. Our girls, our pride, our boys, our allies. We are winning. No excuse for abuse. My sole motivation and passion for all I do personally as First Lady is for equity, peace, and harmony in our societies and our world at large. I keep doing it because I am convinced it is the right thing to do. If we believe women and girls are human beings, then we must treat them equal. If we want society to be at peace, we must not discriminate and create advantage situation for a certain group against and over others. That surely will create tension, conflict, and make some feel low esteem. Therefore, I say no. We must appreciate that every life, irrespective of sex, gender, religion, ethnicity, and other categorization, must be sanctified. This is where the theme for this year's Warwick Africa Summit touched my heart. Omuntu, Umuntu, Gambantu. In Zulu meaning I am because you are. Even though this is from a Zulu language, we must appreciate that this is a very powerful message. Our true purpose of existence can only be meaningful if we ensure that others can count on us and see us as a true reflection of themselves in character, in deeds, and aspiration. Consequently, there needs to be that partnership that can make that connection stronger, better, and sustainable. My message to the Warwick Africa Summit and our audience around the world is to take the substance of the theme from rhetoric to action. And for this to happen, I recommend the following. The world should broaden its scope to capture vulnerable and marginalized groups. You can identify any in their intervention by doing something positive that will change their lives. The West African Summit approach, the Warwick Africa Summit approach for the continent of Africa is to view the continent from global framework and spotlight on progress made and what lies ahead. However, how the rest of the world is viewing or seeing Africa is one thing that needs work on. We need to change the narrative of how we are seen globally as Africans. My other challenge is in the form of recommendation to the Warwick African Summit. I want you to investigate why, even when, with the tremendous effort from within and outside Africa, Africa is still slow to catch up, and some even say it is trapped and difficult to free itself despite achieving political independence. I believe if the Warwick Africa Summit engages itself in pursuing answers and solutions to my recommendation, we must have truly done justice to this year's theme that Africa is because the rest of the world are. Before I take my seat, please, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to thank President of the Warwick African Summit, Hilary Wanjogi, the Vice President, the Secretary, Tadiwaranashi Nyasanza, as well as other members of the team for putting this together. Let us give them a big round of applause. While we are at round of applause, please clap for yourself for being here. I am very humbled to be in front of you, and I very much appreciate that you've taken time off of this as the weather is the way it is outside, but you still decided to be here and to listen to this woman from one small country called Leone. I thank you so very much for your attention, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that speech and all the work you've done. So we have a few questions that we'd like to go through with you.
Right.
That's okay. So first, the African Union's Agenda 2063 emphasizes the importance of gender equality and women's empowerment in achieving the continent's development goals. How do you see Sierra Leone contributing to the realization of this agenda, and what role do you envision for women and girls achieving Africa?
Sierra Leone is one of the few countries I can boastfully say is not only committed but making progress towards the African Union Agenda 2020 to 2010, 2063. This is clearly expressed in our national planning. The whole policy cluster are allocated to women empowerment and gender issues. Our positive policies on education, free quality education with special preference for girls opting to study STEM subjects, governance, architectures, and specialized ministries on gender and children affairs. But more importantly, political progress. Sierra Leone in 2022 passed the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Act, commonly called GIWI Act. It is now a law and made it mandatory for women to be allocated, elected, and appointed position in governance. In addition, the law makes it possible now for women to have access to the most crucial factor of productions. Now a woman can have a land on their own name in Sierra Leone. A woman can actually ask for a loan by themselves, and they don't have to have reference from their husband. A woman can actually remain in their husband's house if the husband passed away, or a man can stay in their family house, because what was happening before now was that when the husband or the wife died, the first thing the family tried to do is come and take over the house or try to evict the partner. Well, it gets worse if that partner does not have a child. They will evict you the next day, even before they bury the man or they bury the woman. So it is now law that nobody can evict you from your home, because that is the home that you build with your partner, and if one of you dies, you stay in that home. And the reason why this is part of our law is because it has affected a lot of women. It has caused them a lot of stress, depression, and sometimes mental situation. So through our campaign, His Excellency see the need that women should be given the same opportunity. Before now, women are not even allowed to have a land on their name. Anything they have should be on their husband's name. Today, I can buy my own land. I don't even have to remember that the president is my husband. I can have my own land and put my name there, because there's a law passed. So the protection of women is now there for us in Sierra Leone, and through that, we are also getting Africa to see that it can be done. And the men just need to give us a little space. We already have our chairs. We are holding the chair, right? The table is there. The men are sitting in front of us. All they need to do is shift a bit, and we will fit in.
Secondly, as a former actor, screenwriter, and producer, the power of storytelling likely holds profound significance for you. In what ways do you perceive the arts as instrumental in showcasing Africa's diverse cultural heritage and identity on a global platform?
As an African woman, what is so sad? You go to certain countries, and when you say, I'm from Africa, the first thing they'll ask you, are you from Nigeria? Because so many people in the Western world, in America, believe that Africa is Nigeria. So when you say I am from Africa, they go, oh, Nigeria. I'm like, no, Sierra Leone. And they go, where is that? I said, you just asked me where I'm from. I'm from Africa, and a place called Sierra Leone. Now, what the art has done in terms of entertainment is to showcase our diverse culture. It's to showcase Africa is not just one place. We have 52 countries within Africa. The culture they celebrate in Nigeria is totally different from the one they celebrate in Sierra Leone. What we do in Sierra Leone is different from the one they do in South Africa. So our entertainment industry has now portrayed Africa as a diverse continent, and one that has a rich culture, and one that values its own culture. And through entertainment, through movies, through Nollywood, we are now able to show, when you see a film that is made in Nigeria, as an African, or whoever is around you, should be able to identify that this is a Nigerian movie. When you see a Ghanaian film or you see a South African film, you should be able to identify which country. One such example, they did long time ago, they did a film about Sierra Leone called The Blood Time. Now, that for a very long time has been a reference point about our country. And that is not Sierra Leone. The cast in that movie, not one of them is from Sierra Leone. The movie was actually not even filmed in Sierra Leone. It was not even filmed in West Africa. Now, you can imagine Hollywood decided to make a film and brand a us as nothing but savages and killers, and they make billions out of it, but did not even donate to build one school for us in Sierra Leone, using our name, using our country, and portraying us like that. And for a country as small as Sierra Leone, we do not have the power to go and say to Hollywood, this is the most stupid movie you have ever created in your life. So what we are doing now is show them what we are made of. And I believe you will not find a Sierra Leonean who is a savage. You will not find a Sierra Leonean who is a killer. Every country that has war, there's bound to have people to die in that war. And Sierra Leone was one of those countries. And I believe when America had their own war, there was a lot of killing in America. Well, are we calling them savages or killers or murderers? For a very long time, when you put Sierra Leone on Google, the first thing that comes up is blood diamond. Well, I want to tell you, we don't have blood diamond in Sierra Leone. And I can show you our diamonds in Sierra Leone have been used to enhance the economy of the United Kingdom, has been used to enhance the economy of the European Union, has been used to enhance the economy of America. But they are not saying that. Instead, they will say to us, we are backward people, and we are third country. But then you still come to our third country and take what doesn't belong to you.
The Hands Off Our Girls campaign has been a truly remarkable flagship program to bring awareness, influence policy, and provide support to combat rape and gender-based violence against women and girls in Sierra Leone. Drawing from your involvement in the campaign, how do social norms and stereotypes exacerbate gender-based violence, and what strategies do you propose for addressing these entrenched issues within the African context?
I think what Africa needs to do at this moment is accept that there is a crime happening in Africa. We cannot accept rape as part of the norm. And a lot of people are even scared to talk about rape or early marriage issues. When we talk about early marriage, ladies and gentlemen, please, I want us to have a different definition of early marriage. When we are talking about marrying a child that is under the age of 18, we are legalizing rape because that child cannot give consent to an old fool who is going to be having sex with him. So we are indirectly using the title marriage to legalize rape, and it's unacceptable. Now, unless we all stand up together and say we've had enough, it's going to continue, and they're going to continue to do that. And the reason why they're doing that, because it is the women population that is larger in Africa. If they can subject us to just being at the back, because when a woman continues to have babies every year in, every year out, what other time would you have to be taking care of yourself or to be even contributing to nation building? Our focus should be on education. Our focus should be on enlightenment. And our focus should be on making sure we take our rightful position. And that is, whatever a man can do, a woman also can do it. In most cases, even better. I'm sorry, guys. Please. But we have been silent for far too long. And gender equality has been around forever. Maybe even before I was born, they've been talking about gender equality. Now, every other thing has got a better attention within the United Nations. Every other gender issue that has come, you will hear, oh, I'm sorry again, I am not being again, I don't have anything against gay, I don't have anything against LGBT, they are none of my business. But we're talking about preferences. How do they give priority to all of this? And the priority, we all can see for ourselves where the priority lies. It's not with the women. And us women, the one thing they keep saying to us, oh, we don't support each other. Because before they come They make sure they set us up so we don't support one another, so that they continue to sit on the table. They continue to make decisions for us. They will tell us how our pregnancy should go, even though they're not the one who is pregnant. They will tell us how a woman should, where they should have their baby, even though when the time comes to say push, they don't know what we're going through. So these are the things. If we are not part of the policy making, we don't have a voice. If we are not seated where those decisions are made, unfortunately, it continues like this. I think this generation and the generation coming should be one that will say, we've had enough. We are now not going to accept anything on paper. What we want to see is action. If you can't give us action, shut up and leave us alone.
So, your leadership has been marked by a steadfast dedication to social justice and inclusivity. How does the Hands Off Our Girls campaign contribute to the broader effects to combat violence against women and girls, not just in Sierra Leone, but across the continent? Furthermore, could you share some of the campaign's significant milestones and achievements within Sierra Leone and how they could serve as a model for African nations?
First one, just one simple thing all African nations should have is a gender equality bill. Every African country should pass a gender equality act. Just dedicating 30% of your workforce to women. Just that. I think that is a huge milestone. Now, how many African countries actually has that as a policy? Not too many. And Sierra Leone is one of those countries that has dared. We have a president that has dared to say we will have to make space for women. And it's not only by saying it, but he can make it law. It is in our law book now. So whether he's there or not, whoever comes, they will have to maintain this, that 30% of elective position and appointed position should be given to women. I think that's one thing we should look at. In terms of staying silent and say, well, this is the norm, my mother went through it, so it's acceptable. No. My mother went through it because she wanted to. I'm not going to go through it because I refuse to be a victim. From the day we are born, we have a problem. When a girl is born in Africa, they don't celebrate you like when a boy is born in Africa. And why? Oh no, the girl is going to go and get married, so they will not carry the family name. And I'm one example of that. My mother had 8 of us. My brothers, we have 4 brothers, 4 sisters. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I was sacrificed at the age of 12 to be married off to someone who has been my uncle. Somebody I've been calling uncle all my life until I was 11 years old. They said, oh, this is going to be your husband. But they don't do that to boys. They allow them to go and bring whoever they want to bring. And they determine for us how we should live our lives. Now, when I go into that marriage, when I suffer the abuse I'm suffering, is it my mother and my father who is suffering for me? They should not be given that right to make those decisions for any child's life. A child should not be forced into anything other than going to school. Let us empower our children. Let us have the right educational system in place and allow women to go into those systems and be empowered. When a woman is educated, you will not abuse them easily. And I think that's what Africa needs to look at now and find a way to empower women through education.
Thank you very much. very much to the First Lady. And please stay seated. We'll have the next panel session starting shortly. And